No one wants to eat shit. I mean, it's why we have the expression eat shit. Hello everybody, welcome back to another brand new episode of Business Blaze with your boy with the Blaze, also known as Simon. You can purchase this Blaze Enron style shirt at purchasethemerch.co, but more importantly than that, you should get yourself something for free, zero charge, much like this episode, except every time I see that, it's like, oh, well, I'm watching all the ads, aren't I, Simon? I'm just like, well, you're not paying for them, are you? Although they are paying me, thank you. I'll stop being a dick about it. This episode is brought to you by Ground News, the free thing I was talking about. Ground News is an app that is dedicated to fighting misinformation and biased news, which I think we all know is a bit of a problem in today's media. Look, I often bring up, there's another show out there called The Blaze, which is like a right-wing news channel. I bet if we look this up on Ground News, which I'm not going to do right now because you guys probably want me to get into the content, but if you got that Ground News app and you looked up The Blaze, it'd be like, yeah, probably leans right or far right. It'll tell you whether they're biased or not. It's very clever. Biased news is a bit of a problem. We all know that. It's harder than ever to work out what's really happening. Ground News filters it by political bias. I've already told you this with the story that I just told, but yeah, it'll say like, well, it's left-wing, it's centrist, it's right-wing, and it's not just like that. It's like there's a spectrum. So you'd be like, you know, Breitbart, extremely far right. Mein Kampf news, extremely far. They don't have that. That doesn't exist. That would be bad. They've got news from over 40,000 news outlets from around the world, so you can not only see the political bias of a piece of reporting, but also see how it might be reported in a different country. Ground News is a free app. It's available from the Apple Store and Google Play Store. Just click the link in the description below and let's get into the video, shall we? It is very good. Like, it just brings all the news together, and it's free. I just get it and try it out. Why not? This is an episode all about the world's worst restaurants. What happens here is Danny will write me a script, I will read the script, and then Sam, afterwards, will add some fine vintage memes. And sometimes he adds modern memes, like the, Daddy chill. I originally intended the starter course of this script to be a personal anecdote based on a memorable experience of dining out in an utterly absurd themed restaurant. But after racking my brains what feels like seconds, this is the high quality. Danny puts a lot of time and thought into Business Blaze scripts. I can't remember ever eating out in a restaurant with a particularly strange theme. Maybe we're not quite as big on themed restaurants here in the UK as in other parts of the world. Indeed, I can't really think of any themed restaurant that I've been to. I mean, I think maybe the biggest theme we would possibly have would be like American restaurants. Like you can go to a place and it's like it has those, you know, diner-style couches that have an American menu. They'll call things cell phone. OG Business Blaze reference right there. That kind of shit. The best I can come up with is that I once got dragged along to a cat cafe in the grim north of England, in which you get to enjoy a coffee and a tuna baguette in the company of a clutter of cats mooching about the place and puking up furballs everywhere. Yeah, I've been to a cat cafe a couple of times, and I just found the cats, they don't want, like, you go to the cat cafe and you're like, sweet, I like cats. You're gonna be like petting some cats and they just mostly want to be left alone because they're not your cat. The whole place stank of cat piss, but the food was pretty good, so I got an 8 out of 10. Generous, Danny. I'd be like, the baguette can be good, but if it stinks of cat piss everywhere, it's going to affect my experience. Although I know, you know what you're getting into. You're going to a cat cafe. But the whole concept of themed restaurants is quite odd when you think about it. I understand why it might be exciting to take kids to a restaurant in the shape of a tank or a space rocket, and I can see the reasoning behind theming a restaurant around the culture of the cuisine. For example, there's an Austrian restaurant in London in which you can enjoy random yodeling in the background, cowbell shows, and live accordion music. That sounds terrible. Not exactly my cup of Weizenbier, but at least there's some logic behind it. Actually, thinking about it, it wasn't a themed restaurant, but like thinking of restaurants, you know, in a rocket or a tank or whatever. On the border between Czech and Austria, like if you just drive directly south, there is a plane from Niki Lauda, who's a Lauda, or however you say it, was a Formula 1 driver. I think he bought an airline, and this was one of his planes, like a Niki Lauda airline plane, that has been put up on a thing, and it's been turned into a restaurant. I mean, I've never eaten there, because I'm like, why would I want to eat inside of a plane? But I've driven past it a few times, and I'll be like, well, I'm sure the food's terrible. However, if anyone asked me to recommend a good local restaurant, I would normally assume that they're interested in hearing about the quality of the food and the customer service and maybe the pricing. After all, nobody wants to pay $50 just to get a bowl of really crap guacamole thrown in their faces by a grumpy waiter. I wouldn't expect them to be asking me to recommend the restaurant with the most exciting and unusual theme. Yeah, can you imagine this? Like someone else, yeah, so we're just in town for a couple of nights, you got somewhere you'd recommend going? Oh yeah, there's a great Mexican place. If you just go 2 corners over, just right there. Brilliant tacos, brilliant. But does it have a theme? Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it's Mexican, but I mean, it's not in the shape of a giant rocket or like a tank or anything like that. It's just a regular restaurant, all right? I guess a little TripAdvisor. Maybe some people do think along those lines. I don't give a shit what they put in front of me or how much it costs. I just want to be entertained by decor and trimmings based around a completely irrelevant subject matter. No one said this ever. Fortunately, for these weirdos who demand a bit more spice in their dining experience, there's a ridiculous restaurant out there to suit just about every taste. Modern toilet. Maybe this is where I came up with this idea, because there's a toilet, I think it's in Japan. The whole restaurant is themed around the shit. Why? There are all kinds of stories relating to what exactly the greatest scientists and inventors were doing at exactly the moment they had the light bulb moment. We've all heard of Archimedes leaping out of the bath with a cry of eureka and Isaac Newton getting clobbered over the head with an apple. And of course, most of these stories are made up as a smokescreen to hide the embarrassing and indisputable fact that 97% of the greatest ideas in the history of humankind were hatched while sitting on the toilet. But a former banker from Taiwan called Dao-Ming Zi is refreshingly happy to admit that he was sitting on the toilet when he first cooked up the idea for a brilliantly original new restaurant venture. If I was being hypercritical, though, I would say that his wild imagination didn't dare to venture outside of the walls of the bathroom in any way. I've spoiled this one, haven't I? Because his restaurant's themed around toilets, and now Danny's explaining how he got there. I know I should read these ahead because it would make for higher quality content, but this has just become a meme on the channel at this point. If you're new here, I'm sorry for letting you down. Because Dao-Ming Zi had decided to launch a restaurant based entirely on a bathroom, with particular emphasis on the toilet. When you walk into a modern toilet, you'll find that toilets and showerheads and plungers elegantly decorate the walls as you're escorted to your seat, which is actually a porcelain and thankfully non-functioning toilet. I don't know, it'd be quite convenient. You're just like, I'm really full. The table is a bathroom sink covered with a glass top, while your meals and drinks are served in miniature toilet bowls and plastic urinal-shaped vessels, respectively. You're even allowed to take the latter home with you if you like. Perhaps the most disturbing thing on the menu is the chocolate ice cream. Oh no, I can see where this is going. Why? No one wants to eat shit. I mean, it's why we have the expression eat shit, which may not sound too ominous at first. It's like that. Oh, what's the movie with Adam Sandler? Is it Happy Gilmore? Where he's like, the bad guy's like, I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast. And he's like, you eat pieces of shit for breakfast? Mwah! Which may not sound too ominous at first, but when it arrives, you'll find that the restaurant has gone out of its way to present the dessert in the style of a curly pile of feces. Probably best to just go for the vanilla. It's like that Nathan For You episode where he persuades the owner of an ice cream shop to make a flavored ice cream, and they go through this scientific process of preparing it and all of this, and it's not popular or successful.
It smells like
It is Austin.
It may sound like a business destined to disappear down the plug hole, but a bum bum tss. But at one point, the chain had expanded into 20 different branches across Taiwan and Hong Kong. Oh my god. But not without the odd little accident, which perhaps shouldn't have been entirely unexpected. Yes, in May 2018, one customer in a Hong Kong branch got a little confused and decided to unleash her chocolate Thunderbird rockets, Danny, no, into the non-functioning toilet on which she was sitting. You've got to be so dumb to do that, right? Really? The restaurant was evacuated and closed down for 2 weeks. Someone's getting sued. Which seems like a surprisingly long time to sort out that kind of shit. Still, only those wacky East Asians would turn such a balmy business idea into a thriving success, right? Well, that feels vaguely racist, Danny, if I'm honest. Well, no, not really. Inspired by the modern toilet revolution, similar restaurants started plopping up. Oh, again, across the US, including the Magic Restroom in LA, of course it's LA, where you could order a chocolate sundae called Black Poop or a vanilla and strawberry sundae called Bloody Number 2. That is not right. Sadly though, the Magic Restroom was closed after just 8 months of doing its business. Good, no one wants this. The Bloody Number 2, what the f*** is wrong with you? Smoking crack? Devil's Island Prison Restaurant. I always thought that the reward behind making the effort to go out for a restaurant meal was to enjoy an experience that is likely to be more enjoyable than just staying indoors again and munching on some microwavable pizza pockets while watching the world turn to shit on the news. God, that's depressing. But if you're thinking of soaking the ambience of Devil's Island's prison restaurants in China, I'm not entirely convinced that a pleasurable experience is listed anywhere on the menu. Situated in the eastern port of Tianjin, the restaurant is designed to emulate the thrilling experience of living the life of an incarcerated criminal who got caught banged to right. Which I feel like, you know, in Europe or America, it'd be like, yeah, okay, so you're in like a prison canteen, there's like a metal table, you get served on a metal tray, all of this shit. Whereas in China, they're just like, no, it's just, well, yeah, we're gonna torture you for a little bit. There's gonna be feces everywhere. This is just how I imagine Chinese prison. You might even get executed. As soon as you've stepped through the sinister steel entrance, you get photographed and fingerprinted, and are even given the option to get handcuffed too, but I suspect that would make consuming a meal far trickier than it needs to be. Bloody hell, especially when you have to use chopsticks. After you're guided through the murky corridors adorned with chains and barred windows, you arrive at your mocked-up cell guarded fiercely by staff in prison officer uniforms, and you can place your order with a waiter dressed in a traditional stripy black and white convict outfit. This actually sounds kind of fun so far. It sounds more like, you know, interactive theatre in a way. The food itself is served on a standard metal tray and designed to look like simplistic prison grub, albeit with optional fried bread in the shape of coffins. Why? Why? But the reviews seem to indicate it tastes alright, so the experience is not entirely drenched in misery, and you're not getting served genuine prison slop. Apparently, the original idea behind the restaurant was to frighten people away from criminal activity. But this seems like quite a bizarre premise on which to build a dining experience. Maybe some religious group should try launching a restaurant on fire to ward non-believers away from the perils of sin and eternal damnation. Don't do that. I can't say I'm really compelled to visit Prison Island restaurant, though I'll stick with microwavable pizza pockets tonight. I don't know, I'd give that a go. That sounds kind of fun. I'm into that. The Exchange Bar and Grill. I feel like I've heard of this one. Is this the one where it's like the price of drinks and stuff fluctuates based on demand? I thought this was cool. I'd like to go there. Just directly before I started writing full-time for a living about 10 years ago now, I spent a year working from home as a day trader on the stock market. In many ways, it was a brilliantly simple year. I once made a fortune before I'd even had breakfast by just repeatedly buying low and selling high on the exact same fluctuating stock all morning. Wait, if it was this simple, everyone would be a billionaire. I want to see how this ends. Of course, it's a bit less exciting when all your money is locked into shares that have fallen dramatically since you bought them, and there's not much you can do about it other than twiddle your thumbs and hope that they go up again one day. Yeah, this is like... Overall, it doesn't work out for the vast majority of people, always remember that. No matter what some clown on YouTube is trying to tell you. That was around the time that I started freelance writing just to take my mind off the ever-tumbling value of everything I owned. The shares never went back up again, so I ended selling at a massive loss and giving up. Yeah, that's honest, that's just what happens to most people who do this. But now I can relive those glory days of sitting in my pants and shouting, buy, sell, buy, to my dog by visiting the Exchange Bar and Grill in Manhattan, New York. The restaurant is themed around the New York Stock Exchange, and a giant LCD ticket tape is displayed above the long bar area, which scrolls through fluctuations in price of all of the drinks on offer. The prices rise and fall in accordance with this is so cool, with the current demands. I love this idea. So your goal is to try and seize the moment that your tipple of preference has hit rock bottom before you leap to the bar and shout, I demand a pint of Meteor Fizz. OG business place reference there. It's not quite as utterly preposterous as it might sound. Danny and I apparently, I thought themed restaurants beginning this, I'm like, this is bullshit. But all of these, except for the toilet one, sound pretty cool. It's not quite as preposterous as it might sound, just very close. The fluctuations only apply to drinks, so you can order a meal with the peace of mind that you're not suddenly going to get charged 100 times more than you were expecting. And the prices of drinks usually fluctuate in gradual increments of 25 cents, reaching a $2 plateau in either direction. So a bottle of Heineken priced at around $4 will likely climb no higher than $6 per bottle and drop no lower than $2, which sounds like a pretty reasonable price until you realize you're in America, and then it's like, oh yeah, it was $4. But it's actually $9 because there's 29% service, 400% tax, and all sorts of other weird that gets added onto the bill in America. You're like, why can't you just price it at the price that it says? I'd feel much better if you just said it was $8 and charged me $8 rather than being like, it's $4 and the bill comes and it's like, it's actually $8. I lied. The restaurant's happy hour is modeled on a market crash in which all the drinks are temporarily available at the lowest possible price. So when the bartender shouts, the market is crashing, this is met with exactly the kind of whoops of delight and joy that you wouldn't find in a real stock market. Maybe this is a bold new approach to gamifying the usual dull routine of ordering a drink from a bar. Maybe it's a clever way of trying to shift drinks that aren't moving very fast today by encouraging the shrewder boozer to play the game and buy the cheapest stock. Or maybe it's just a daft novelty gimmick that creates lots of pissing about at the bar for everyone concerned. I'd get into this, and the more I drank, the more I get into it. I'd be like, buy it, come on! Either way, it may not have proved to be a wise long-term investment. Although business was booming at the Exchange Bar and Grill for several years, the bubble burst quite recently as the last order bell rang, one crushing final time. Oh no! Next up, the Heart Attack Grill. I would imagine that most people book a table at a restaurant when they fancy a pleasant night out with their partner, or friends, or family. But in the case of the Heart Attack Grill, originally located in Arizona, the venue seems more like a fun euthanasia restaurant where unhealthy diners go to die. Okay. Riding defiantly against the tide of healthier living, the restaurant is themed around the idea of a hospital dishing out heart attacks on a plate. As you walk through the hospital doors, a scantily clad nurse provides you with a hospital gown, which also serves as a handy bib. After you've been weighed and had your blood pressure taken, you can order your culinary prescription from a waiter dressed as a doctor. This is all very elaborate, isn't it? The restaurant's signature dish is the quadruple bypass burger, consisting of 4 half-pound patties, 20 strips of bacon, and 8 slices of cheese, served with flatliner fries, which are deep-fried in pure lard. Oh my god. This sounds awful, but amazing. You can wash all of that down with a drop of wine, served in an IV bag, or a shot of something a little stronger from a novelty syringe-shaped vessel. This is kind of fun. The only vegan option on the menu is cigarettes. Oh, I love it. And kids can join in the fun with their own candy cigarettes. Is that even legal? It came as a surprise to me that the sale of candy cigarettes is even legal in North America. Yes, as I'm pretty sure the rest of the world has banned them 30 years ago. You can still buy candy sticks, which are exactly the same kind of thing, but they don't have the offending red bit at the end. Yeah, no, these were not legal when I was a kid. You better make sure that you clear your plate, otherwise one of the nurses will give you a spanking with a giant paddle, which you can take home as a souvenir of public humiliation. I'm not sure what that has got to do with medicine and nursing and all of that, but I mean, okay. And in quite an unusual marketing move, customers who weigh over 350 pounds, it's pretty heavy, that's 25 stone in proper measuring, can eat for free. They can eat you could just eat totally for free? What? Seems a bit weird to me to give your prime target audience a free pass, but the restaurant seems to be doing pretty well following a move from Arizona to Las Vegas in 2011. Of course, Heart Attack Grill has naturally attracted criticism in some quarters over the distinctive strategy of customers getting served with obscenely unhealthy food by underdressed nurses. I won't comment on the underdressed nurses part, but the idea of having a place that serves unhealthy food, we know what we're getting into as customers. We can choose to go there, or if we want to go to like healthy salad vegan restaurant, we can. It's up to us. What's the problem? But just imagine the storm if a customer had suffered a real heart attack while dining out at the restaurant. People, I'm sure, suffer heart attacks in restaurants every day. I mean, it would be entertainment. Someone's death would be entertainment, I suppose, but it wouldn't be like, oh my god, outrageous. It's like, fat people are eating there for free. Well, we don't have to imagine because it's actually happened twice. Okay, I should read these ahead. In one tragic case, the other customers in the diner thought that it was all just a fun publicity stunt, so they gathered around the heart attack victim to take photographs and selfies during his dying spasms. It wasn't. I was wrong. That's not going to go down well. But I bet it's still there, and I bet it's still doing fine, and it's getting free coverage here, and I'd go there. I think that sounds fun. Cabbages and condoms. Some restaurants are brave enough to promise cast iron guarantees in their catchy marketing slogans. 100% satisfaction, or your money back. We'll serve you within 90 seconds of taking your order. Our chef washes his hands at least once a week. Mwah! We don't keep any dead lions in the freezer, none at all. In fact, we don't. Why you brought it up, really? OG Business Blaze joke right there. None of these promises we can make on Business Blaze because your satisfaction is not guaranteed in any way whatsoever. Smash that dislike button. By the way, we actually have shirts that say smash the dislike button, which you can purchase at perchthemerch.co. Cabbages and Condoms in Bangkok, Thailand serves up a different kind of promise about the dishes on offer. Our food is guaranteed not to cause pregnancy. Jesus Christ, I'd be a little bit worried if it could cause pregnancy, to be honest. I mean, how? Why? What? But although the name of this condom-themed restaurant may sound a little odd, there's actually a very important message lurking somewhere in the lunacy. Oh, I'm looking forward to seeing how we get there. There's nothing particularly salty about the traditional Thai menu. It's more to do with the eccentric decor. You'll find condoms hanging in just about every nook and cranny of the venue. They're dangling from the dresses of mannequins, from the beard of a life-size Santa statue, and entire strings of lights on the ceiling are held together by condoms. What's going on? Instead of getting furnished with an after-dinner mint at the climax of the meal, you're naturally given a condom instead. But I think they may have taken the concept just a little bit too far with the waiters, who are who are occasionally inclined to serve your food while struggling to talk or even breathe because they've shoved their head inside a giant inflated condom. I really don't understand at first where the cabbages came into all of this, but according to the founder, Mechai something, who first launched the restaurant in the 1970s, the idea is that you find cabbages everywhere in Bangkok, and condoms should be equally as ubiquitous and accessible as the humble cabbage. This is very, very strange. A former economist, Mechai believes that controlling the population growth is the key to improving quality of life, and he's keen to help promote a better understanding and acceptance of family planning in Thailand. Over the years, the restaurant has supported numerous non-profit sex education and AIDS prevention groups, and has founded school-based programs to help the fight against poverty. Good for him. Condoms Cabbage has now expanded into several branches across Thailand, and a new restaurant has very recently rolled up in the UK for the first time. You're probably still better off taking the younger kids to McDonald's, though. New Lucky Restaurant. I'm never quite sure exactly how noisy a good restaurant is supposed to be. Quiet.
Silence! I kill you!
If you're trying to enjoy your meal against a backdrop of hooligans throwing tables and pint glasses at each other while simultaneously trying to do the locomotion, I expect you might end up complaining about the chaotic atmosphere. But if the restaurant is so deathly quiet, you can hear a pin drop, some people would complain that it's as dead as a graveyard. Sometimes it seems as if the restaurant can't win. The funny thing about the New Lucky Restaurant in India is that it manages to mash up the two extremes. It's a lively and vibrant venue, which is as dead as a graveyard, because many of your fellow diners are really dead. Oh god, what's going on? Located in the Lao Darwaza region of Amadem, the tables of this acclaimed restaurant are scattered around no less than 12 genuine coffins and burial sarcophagi, which are believed to belong to Muslim followers of a 16th century Sufi saint. This was never meant to be an intentional design theme, though. In the 1960s, Krishnan Kutty had snapped up the land for a bargain price and had plans from the beginning to build a fairly traditional restaurant on top of it. But he maybe should have looked into the paperwork a little bit more closely, or perhaps even paid a visit to the lands that he was buying. Because Krishnan was completely unaware that the site was a former cemetery, which was still scattered with bones and deathly relics from yesteryear. Clean that shit up, dude. Upon making this discovery, he had every right to quietly dispose of these 500-year-old bodies to make room for more restaurant tables. Yeah, it's okay, they're 500 years old, no one's visiting the graves. But as a mark of respect to the fallen, he instead decided to build the restaurant around the coffins, which are cleaned every day and presented with fresh flowers. On a I don't know, if I'm that dead dude in that coffin, I'm gonna be like, I don't know if I'm happy about that. Just put me in the ocean or whatever. Or wherever they get rid of coffins. Probably not the ocean, that'd be a bit weird. Probably just throw them away, don't they? Oh, now I don't know what I would prefer. Just cremation. Or just freeze me. On a reassuring note, it's not likely that anyone could just walk up to them and open the lid for a bit of a laugh, as the coffins are protected by iron grills. I should hope so. And Christian claims that eating a meal amongst the dead brings you good luck. He just made that up, didn't he? Which explains why you see so many people in Rotherham enjoying a midnight kebab takeaway feast down the local graveyards. No, Danny, they're just drunk. Oh, but maybe he's onto something, or maybe he just serves particularly good butter rolls. Over 60 years later, goddamn, his New Lucky Restaurant is still very much alive and kicking. This has been Business Blaze. Thank you for watching. Please do check out today's fantastic sponsor, Ground News, who are linked to below. If you'd like to purchase some merch from me, we got that Dislike Button t-shirt, we got Legends merch, we've got this Enron-style Blaze merch. There's mugs as well, and hoodies and all of that shit. It's linked to below as well. And thank you for watching. Into it, I'd be like, buy it, come on!